Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today and I'm interviewing one of my good friends, I would say, and I've known her for a while, and hopefully you'll get to know her after today's interview. Her name is Joyce Sylvester. I think her name should be a household name that you should know after a while, but we're going to talk about a few things that she's been involved with over the past few years. And basically, when I met her, she was a writer and a director of plays at the Billie Holiday Theater. So I'd like to welcome Joyce Sylvester to the show and greet you.
Thank you, Philip. Nice to be here.
Okay, very nice. And tell us a little about, I have to ask you a few questions, but before, so just tell us about your little background about yourself and how you de- decided that you're going to be a writer.
Uh, well, I think it really stems from my background in theater. I started out as I started out as a dancer, and from dancing, I went on to become an actress with the Negro Ensemble Company. I, studied there, and having those great and phenomenal influences around me, and the lack of work as an actress, it just seemed to be the natural order for me to write. Writing was something that I always enjoyed. And so I decided to write my first play, which of course was Mercedes, and the response that I had gotten from it, which was really quite favorable, led me into continually increase my studies in writing, and to go on to write the other plays that I've written.
Okay, so now, who are some of the people who have kind of been your mentors or kind of guided you into, helped you mold your style? Because you do have a particular style that you developed.
I studied writing in college, screenwriting, but the most impactful classes that I had were with legendary African American writers, namely Douglas Turner Ward, who was the founder of the Negro Ensemble Company, who in his own right is a playwright and an actor and a director and a producer. So to have him as my teacher is really, it's a great blessing.
Right, that was good.
Because to sit down and just listen to him as he puts on the several different hats. He talks to me as the casting director. He talks to me as the playwright. He talks to me as the actor, as the producer. And so it just helped to increase my knowledge greatly, and as a playwright. And all the things that I have to think about. In addition to that, another legendary writer, Ed Bullins, who has, they say he's written about 100 plays, very prominent in the late 60s, 70s. Ed Bullins, wonderful playwright. And also I studied with Steve Carter, who also I met at the Negro Ensemble Company, who ran the Playwrights Workshop there.
Oh, okay.
And who's a phenomenal writer in his own right. Just phenomenal. That's all I can say.
So basically,
it's in fact one of my favorites. He and Doug, they're really, truly my favorite.
You started off with the best of...
And also Leslie Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, Leslie Lee, who's had plays on Broadway as well.
So now I noticed that a lot of your plays are put on at the Billie Holiday Theater.
Right.
And how do you like working with the Billie Holiday Theater?
Billie Holiday Theater is great. It's important for me to submit my work to the community first. I think that it is the community that I'm ministering to and through my writing, and I think that they are the ones that are probably going to be the most appreciative of my writing, because I am of the mindset to uplift my people and not, to empower them through my writing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm going to be led in my writing, but most time I'm led to empower my people. And usually in Caucasian theaters, and I can't say this, emphatically that all theaters are like this, they just, oftentimes I see some of the material that they're grasping a hold of are pieces that, show us more in a subservient kind of a role. And I don't write like that. So I have been rejected a couple of times from some of those theaters, and it's no surprise. It's no surprise.
You know, I noticed, speaking about themes, one of your recurring themes in your plays is dialogues of Malcolm and the thoughts of Malcolm X. I noticed that it runs like through your
Yeah.
plays constantly. Is
Well,
there a reason for that? Or
yes, because he's a great orator. He is like the one of our leaders that I absolutely and positively, truly respect. I having read, his journey. I wasn't around at that time, but having familiarized myself, with his journey, I just think that he is really a phenomenon and somebody that we can still learn a lot from. So I keep him alive in my writing, even though he is a Muslim and I am a Christian. I think that a lot of his teachings
the ideas that
are healing to our people. I think that they are important. I think that people need to go back and read some of the things that, everything that Malcolm has said. They can just learn so much from him and his drive for us to have a solidarity and how he empowered us to teach us that we were not less than who we are,
Right.
which is something that I'm constantly trying to incorporate in my writing.
Very good. And I also noticed that you were very prolific for a while. That you had a play every year at the Bullins Hollywood Theater.
And another one coming up.
And another one
So
coming.
that
and,
was
and
still
not,
now.
And not just the play. These plays were also nominated, and the actors are nominated for various Adulco Awards,
right.
and they have received awards. And as a matter of fact, this year weren't you nominated for an award this year? Or?
Yeah, another award, it was an Delco Award, of course, which is the Audience Development Committee, which is an excellent committee. They develop audiences for Black theater, and they go around seeing hundreds and hundreds of plays, and then they narrow it down to what they consider the best, and send out ballots, and they do a major vote, and they have a beautiful award ceremony. And this year I won for A Freeman's Hope, and they renamed the Playwrights Award the August Wilson Award this year, so I am the first recipient of it, and I was quite honored, especially since I was, up against someone as phenomenal as Melvin Van Peebles, whom I respect greatly. He's a man that doesn't allow anybody to say no to him. He is determined, with the evidence of Sweet Sweetback.
Right,
Years ago, he was quite determined to make this film. He did it, and it was a great success.
And he also had 2 plays on Broadway at the same time.
Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, which is what he was actually nominated for. So I was really quite surprised that I won. But in my heart, I feel like had he not been one of the people that, opened the doors for me,
Right.
I would not even be standing there. And I truly forgot. I was in shock that I should have said thank you, Melvin Van Peebles.
Well, you can say thank you now.
Yeah. Hopefully he'd be watching.
Yeah, that's good. And also, your plays, they're not just the typical play. You have a style, and this is I'm talking about style. Writers have different styles, but you have a style where you have different things going. You have irony, you have twists, you have conflict, you have dialogue. You have everything going and flowing in such a way when the audience they leave. I mean, if they leave the play, they're like they've been through an experience.
Right. Yeah, that's my style. I didn't know that would be my style, as I started writing my first play. But I think that that's how life is.
Yeah.
Life has twists and turns, and life has sorrowful moments as well as comedy. Oftentimes, I don't know that I'm writing comedy. It's just not always my intention, but I think that with our people, what happens is, I have such a place of identification, and we tend to laugh at the place of identification, you know. So if I'm talking about Aunt Susie making collard greens in the kitchen and throwing a ham hock in there, which I haven't done yet, but if I do something like that, right away everybody's laughing.
Right.
And it's really, you know, not a comedic situation. I mean, it's a reality.
Right.
But people laugh at the identification, and I've learned that. Unfortunately, I call my work dramas.
Oh, okay.
And when they get to the Billie Holiday Theater, somehow our producer, the dear Marjorie Moon, whom I love, will call them dramatic comedy because the response is always,
Right. People
you know, it's got to be a comedy. It's funny, you know.
they do go through an emotional ride when they.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to walk out the same way when they went in.
Hopefully not.
You know, when they
Hopefully
see them in
not.
their place. Now, I've been associated with a couple of them. I've seen Mercedes. I've seen basically how you develop and you grow from Mercedes to all the way to Freeman's Hope. And then
So they've told me. So they have told me.
The Blockbuster. We're not going to forget the Blockbuster play, Free the People.
Free the People.
Which has. Wouldn't you do that play this recently?
Just did it again at the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I did it there. It was a big hit there. And I have plans for it to tour.
Okay.
You know, and
it's definitely. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen it, if they get a chance to see it, it's definitely an experience that you will never forget.
yeah, it was an important piece for me because one of the main reasons why I wanted to write Free to Peoples was first, let me say that it's about the church and what goes on behind the scenes of the church. You know, as a Christian and as a devout Christian, so often, you know, my job is to spread the good news of Christ. And so what happens is people are oftentimes turned off from the church because I think that they think that people are perfect in the church. So I wanted to write something that shows that we're just like anybody else. Usually those people don't mind going into a club and being around a bunch of hypocrites. And so they say, oh, I don't want to go to church because they're a bunch of hypocrites. But I don't care where you go. You're going to find a hypocrite.
They're all over.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and also the Bible also says, you know, there's none righteous, not even one, and that we all fall short of the glory of God. So I just wanted to have a play that was about the church and people striving and loving the Lord and still having situations where they fall short. And confessing, you know, their moments of falling short so that they can be freed from their bondage. And therein lies the name Free to Peoples.
All I can say is a lot of people must have related to it because that play, like I said, was one of the biggest drawing plays that the Billie Holiday Theater has had.
Yeah, it is, in a while. Since Innocent Black, which I had done on Broadway.
Right. And hey, as I was going through I did a little research on you on the internet, and I saw that you had a little acting background and a few things, but also what I've seen is now the last play, Freeman's Hope, which is another play that's grabbing. You know, you seem to tend to take things that are contemporary that are maybe not, they're contemporary but not in focus to some people's mind and bring it into their attention. Mm-hmm. As you've done that with Freeman's Hope, where things that...
Well, with regard to Freeman's Hope, I thought it was very important to talk about, you know, when our parents get older. And how do we maintain our lifestyles, and at the same time, what kind of decision do we make to take care of the older parent? And we have the decision. I mean, some people want to put their parents in homes, and that's a really difficult thing in itself because a lot of times we take on a guilt. And then sometimes we want to take care of our parents, and especially if they're getting ill, you know, what happens is that we become the parent as well, and we become a little locked in for our own lifestyles, and we're not able to do the things that we would ordinarily do, live our lives, because we're so busy making the sacrifice to take care of our parents. So I wanted to show in A Free Man's Hope, you know, just the opposition, let's say, that one would get who had decided to take care of a parents from a sibling to say, oh, put them in a home, you know, because you have to live your life. and then another person saying, I could never do that too. And well, in this case, it was the daughter taking care of her father. She could never do that, which is Freeman's Hope is not about my father's life, but it is about a dilemma that I was faced with, in that, you know, should I take care of my dad, which really wasn't a dilemma. I knew I would do it, you know, or shall I stay in California where I was living at the time, and then I had to move back to New York City and give up my job and everything to go ahead and take care of it, and which ultimately was really difficult, but a blessing.
Right.
To be able to do that. I'm at peace with myself, having taken care of my father and having been able to come out with a Freeman's Hope, a play,
Right.
you know, from the experience.
And still be creative. Go through that experience
Yeah.
and still be able to create. Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Amen.
And I like the way you use the names of your plays have different. I noticed that there's play on the way, like Freeman's Hope,
Right.
Freedom Peoples. These names, and you listen to the names, you start thinking. You know.
Well, you know, once again, in my plays, I like the twists and turns. And so you think you're going down one direction, and then you find out, you know, at the end of a scene that you've gone into another direction. But at the same time, with my titles, I try to do that because, for example, with Mercedes, one would say, well, is it about the car? Is it about a woman? You know,
Right.
and of course it was about the woman.
Right.
Grace in the light. You know, people think it's about, you know, God's grace, which in a sense it is, but it was about a woman,
Named
you know, a
Grace.
homeless woman that whose name was Grace, that would sing in the light.
Right.
And then we had Faith Online, which is a play about faith, but at the same time was about a woman named Faith who was helping the people in Harlem to help them or be organized and to get themselves together and so forth and so on. She provided that service. A woman named Faith provided that service. And then there's Frida Peoples, which is Frida, a woman's name. People, some people think I can't speak. They think I'm saying Frida Peoples, but it's not that. It's about a woman named Frida, and then there's a free man's hope. You know, I just love the idea of being free, a free man. And what is a free man's hope in this country today? You know, technically we are not bound by chains and so-called slavery anymore, but you know, but there is racism, and it still exists, and it's still we're highly scarred from it. So what is the free man's hope? Even though it is about a man named Durbin Freeman and his daughter named Hope.
That's a good good relationship.
Yeah.
This is important. It's not just enough to write the play and have the actors, because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I have a thing when I see your plays, you also have it. It's laid out, the stage. You have it in your mind how you want the stage to be. You have it. Everything is exactly. You know exactly where you.
Right.
How do you come to these? You visualize these.
Absolutely.
Okay. So.
You know, absolutely. I'm visualizing from the first word on the page until the end, and it's very difficult for me not to write like that because I am a director. You know, I'm an actress first, so in my mind I'm playing all these roles and I'm seeing how it flows out of the actor's mouth. And then, because I am a director, I know exactly, well, not when I say exactly, I know at least 80% of how I want my actors, because, you know, there's that percentage that the actors, they bring to the piece as well, which I respect, of course. And, but definitely I see the whole picture, and my plays, within a 2-week period, I'm pretty much set. And so that third week of rehearsal, which I demand that I have, because I think it's a crime to have just 2 weeks of rehearsals for any actor for a 2-act play. I just think it's a crime. By the time I get to the third week, you know, we're honing and really setting things in place. And the actor and the director and the playwright, you know, they've gelled to make it natural as possible.
And also, how do you coordinate with the sound and lighting people, and also the people who do the stage, the construction of the stage and the sets? How do you coordinate yourself with that?
Well, usually in the theater we have production meetings, and with regard to the set, which Patrice Davidson has done all of my sets, who's a phenomenal set designer. We discuss, just how the set should be. And usually I write what the set is in the play, and then he will come with his concepts. And sometimes I just allow Patrice Davidson to, just kind of do what he wants to do, based upon, the concepts that I have. But, he embellishes it and always makes it 100% better than what I had thought. And same with the lighting design. Avan Littles is a person that does the lighting design as well as the stage managing at the Billie Holiday Theater. And if I have a thought or if I have a concept, I share it with them, and it's always a collaboration.
Right.
Truly, we are team players. You can't do it without team players.
Right, you need people.
Yeah, I can't. If you're not a team player, I don't want you on my team.
Yeah, hey.
I really don't want you on my team. You got to be open to, different concepts and different ideas and different. Everyone has their creativity, and even if you don't like it, you have to allow it a forum. You have to give it a chance to see it, and then come to maybe a compromise or something, But make sure that we all honor one another's art, and allow each other a forum to speak, so that the product can come out the best that it can be.
So what are you working on these days?
I'm working on a new play. I have 2 in my head. I always say that I'm pregnant with a play, and so I'm pregnant with twins.
They're twins.
But I'm working on one, and it's it's about women in the ministry. I don't have a title for it yet. I actually do, but I'm playing around with it, so I won't say it. So I'm doing that. If you notice, many of my plays have some kind of spiritual something in there, because I do write from my experiences. And before I write any play, I pray. And I ask God, how would he like me to minister to his people? So I ask God to guide my hand, guide my mind, and let me write something that is truly ministering. Now, I don't beat people over the head. I don't believe in that. I know some Christians want to beat people over the head and fire and brimstone. That's not me. I don't believe in that. I think, if you want to share the word, you have to do it in kindness, because that is when people will be more receptive to you. But right now, like I said, I'm working on a play about women in the ministry, and I don't know if it's going to be a comedy or a drama. I think that it's going to be a drama.
Okay.
There is a lot of controversy as to whether or not women should be in the ministry, behind the pulpit, or not. So I'm working on a piece like that good. Right now.
Is there anything else you might like to add before we sign off? Or?
Well, I would encourage those people that have it in their heart to write, to not let anything stop them, to go to their computers, and if they have a typewriter, which is where I started writing on a typewriter, to go ahead and be determined to tell their stories, because their stories truly will bless somebody else in some form or fashion. Don't be intimidated by spelling anymore. You got spell check now.
Yeah,
don't be intimidated by spelling. Don't be intimidated by what anybody says. Take a class and have a relentless drive for progress. My pastor, I go to Christian Cultural Center. My pastor teaches us that. Pastor A.R. Bernard, he teaches us to have a relentless drive for progress.
That's right.
And I just want to encourage my people to have a relentless drive for progress when it comes to their purpose. I'm talking about playwriting right now, but any purpose that one has in their life, go for it. Don't let the chains and the negativity that we see in the media stop them from doing what their purpose is, their God-given purpose. And then I would like to leave you with a scripture that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and rely not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
Okay, thank you very much, Joyce.
Thank you, Philip. God bless.
Okay, and like I said, you will be hearing more of Joyce in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and Fade to Black is out. Adios.